Hey there everyone, it's Ed here from Bunch of Swines again, and we are in the barn. If you are in the UK, the weather at the moment has been appalling. Literally we've had like 3 days of rain, but as you can see in the barn, we've actually made some progress. We have our trailer in now, we've got loads of other stuff in, so we're kind of getting there, although we do have some building work going on today in the other parts of the barn, just building some stuff up. So today, what we're going to do is we are going to cook some Philly cheesesteaks, seeing as we've got a load of people here. Basically cooking a Philly cheesesteak. What I've got in my cooler, just try and grab it, is a nice piece of part frozen ribeye. And with this, we are going to use our meat slicer so we can get this nice and wafer thin. So we can then cook this on our hot plate, and basically, we're going to have a look at some of the do's and don'ts. Cheesesteak's one of those things that I've cooked and played with loads of times over the years, and after eating it in America and really liking it, I've recreated it at home and really not liked it. Thought it wasn't that great. So, I've kind of worked on this over the years. So, we're going to talk about what are the different things that you need to do. Some of the mistakes people often make when they're making a cheesesteak. And we're going to cook these up, and hopefully they are going to be delicious. So, first things first, I need to get this out of the packaging. I've already got my meat slicer set up. I've got it, so it's rather, quite thin. I have frozen this, so, I got it, it was fresh. I put it in the freezer for about 2 hours, just to make it a bit firmer. Just help it actually slice nice and thinly. So just pulling this piece out here. There we go. And, like you see, got, it's a ribeye. Nothing special. I mean, to be fair, this one's actually just come from the cash and carry. I'm not really a huge fan of using expensive meats on something like a cheesesteak. I don't think it's really worth it. So, all I'm going to do now, as you see, I've got my meat slicer set up here. All I need to do now, it's a bit big for the guard at the minute, is I'm just going to start slicing this down nice and thinly. I'll just take the first slice. That's probably a little bit thick, so I'll just make it a little bit thinner. Just like that, and you can see it's, maybe like 1/2 centimetre, maybe a little bit less. I might go a little thinner, again, just like that. But it's always good just to get your aim in as you're starting off. And then slice that down, and that is a lovely thin piece. So that's going to cook up really nicely as we need it to. I'm going to do this. I've got like 2.5 kilos of ribeye to slice. So we're going to crack on with this. We'll get this all done, and we'll come back once we've got this all sliced. So you can see now we've got our beef sliced up nice and thinly now. These are ready for us to start cooking in a minute. But I know there's going to be a lot of you out there that don't have access to a meat slicer. Whilst I think it's a great investment, something that you can use for cutting bacon or whatever else, cold meats and so on. You may just have a knife and a bit of meat. So, again, I would just make sure don't try and get too thick with it. You won't be able to get the long slices like we're able to with the meat slicer. But, you are able to, just go very closely against the edge of the steak and just do it by hand. This will be absolutely fine. You can do it this way. It will just take a bit longer than it will as I'm as I've done it for 2.5 kilos worth of of ribeye here. But you know, there's nothing wrong with it this way. It's just quicker, and I get the bigger slices like this. You know, you'll still get the, you know, the flavour. And you know, when we're cooking it, we're going to tear it up anyway into smaller pieces, so it is absolutely fine. Just, you know, just take your time. Just like really as thin as you can get it. This is why it really helps to have it part frozen, because it kind of holds shape as you're doing it. So just going through like that. But you know, and so we'll finish that bit off. But yeah, you know, if you don't have a meat slicer, you can still do it with a knife. It'll just take a bit longer. But just be really careful and work slowly. But we're going to get our coals ready, and we're going to start looking at getting these cooked up soon. So now that we have our ribeye all sliced up nicely, it's all ready to be cooked. I do need to prepare some of the veggies to go with it. So yeah, we're just going to chop up basically onion and peppers. That's all that goes in a Philly cheesesteak. So you know, I've got a couple of onions here, a couple of peppers. We're just going to dice, you know, chop these up. I'm just going to slice them, not going to dice them or anything like that. And that's it. You know, we're just going to get this done, and then we'll be ready to get our plancha onto the kettle, and we'll start cooking. So the first thing that we're going to want to do, you know, we've got our vegetables chopped. So we've got these onions, we've got some peppers. Obviously, we've got the steak chopped up as well. The first thing we're going to want to do, though, is actually cook off the vegetables first. The reason for this is so I can get them cooked and cooked through and soft, and then I can take them off, and then I can cook the steak separately. And then, you know, what I'm going to do is then add that back in to the meat as it's cooking. So I've got my plancha set up, so I'm just using a regular kettle, Weber kettle. I've blocked off the fire on on one side of it. So I've got a hot side and a cold side to my to my plancha. And this is going to mean that I can, you know, just control the heater a bit better. So all that's left to do, I'm just going to get these vegetables on. We're going to soften those down, you know, get them cooked through. And then, you know, we'll take those off, and we'll start looking at getting the steak cooked and start building some really tasty sandwiches. So now that we've got our vegetables cooked, you know, I've taken them all off, so they're just sitting in a pan. That's just, you know, peppers, onions, bit of salt and pepper. We're now going to move on to actually cooking the ribeye. So how we're going to cook the meat. One of the biggest mistakes that people make when making a Philly cheesesteak is that they tend to think that it needs to be like, you know, you cook it like you would a regular steak, as in, you know, as hot as possible, get that sear on there, you know, get a browning on the meat. But actually, with a cheesesteak, what ends up happening is that ends up making it dry. What you want to do is actually have a really slow and gentle cook on there, and then, you know, that's going to slowly melt the fat within the meat, and means that you end up with something, you know, a much juicier sandwich coming out of it. So I've got my hot plate set up, my plancha set up in the kettle. I've got the coals on one side, but now I just want to kind of try and figure out exactly how hot it is in what area. So I'm just going to start off with a little piece of steak, one of the thin off-cut bits. Okay, and I'm just going to place that on the grill so I can actually see, you know, is it too hot? So, you know, I know this end here, you know, I hear that sizzling. I automatically know that's too hot. But if I move it more over there, that sounds a bit better. You know, if I move it over to this side, I'll see if we get any colouring. You know, that's maybe a little bit too cold. Actually, looking at that one, that's probably a bit too hot. So I just want to move him over there. So I'm guessing my cooking area is going to be just around that kind of zone. So now that I've got that all figured out, I can basically now start just loading up my hot plate with all of this lovely ribeye, and you know, we'll start making a sandwich. So, you know, I've kind of got my hot plate loaded up with enough for a sandwich. I'm just going to let that kind of start cooking out a bit. I do just want to season it up. So what I've got here is just a 50-50 mix of salt and pepper. You know, basically I've got like about a tablespoon of each in there. And then I want to add about maybe half a teaspoon of garlic powder. And then about the same, half a teaspoon of onion powder. And basically this is just going to help, you know, not only just add seasoning, but sort of bring out some of that flavour into the meat and just, you know, make it taste a bit more. So just shake that up quickly, and then, you know, just give it a nice generous sprinkle over the top, just like that. And then as it's as it's already cooking now, you know, I'm going to use wooden tongs on the plancha because I don't want to basically cut up or ruin my seasoning on the plancha. And you know, as I'm doing it, I'm just starting to tear the cheesesteak up. You know, tear those bits of beef up. So again, as it goes into the sandwich, it's going to be, you know, nice little bite-sized chunks going in there. So, you know, trying to keep away from it when it's sizzling. That's a bit too hot for what I'm wanting. So, you know, just backing it up a bit, just tearing up that ribeye. You know, where we've cut it so thinly, you know, it's quite easy to do like this, and we just, you know, keep stirring that around like that. So that's just going to sit there now for a few more minutes. Ooh. Keep that stuff off the hot side. And as we're doing that, you know, I might as well get a bun ready. So, you know, just give the bun a quick toasting. Actually cut it open as well. Just like that. There we go. So I can just toast that on the side that's really hot. You know, I can make sure we get a nice colour on there. And again, just keep moving the ribeye. You know, and tearing it up as you go along with it. So, and now that we're getting, you know, it's starting to cook through, you know, we're getting there. I just want to make sure now it's time. I'll get a bit of my, you know, the onions and the peppers that's already been cooked. You know, I'll just take a little scoop of that, put that on there as well. So that's all going to cook in. Again, it's all just going to add into the flavour, you know, and kind of build that up. Ooh. Just get my bread off. bit toasty. So, and as as we're waiting for the steak to cook, I'm just going to open up some cheese slices. You know, normally you'd like put like a bit of cheese whiz on it, or you know, some different types of cheeses. But yeah, I'm just going to go for some pretty standard, you know, cheap burger cheese. So this is going to go on top of this sandwich. Just need to get this steak cooked a bit more before I'm ready to add that onto it. There we go, we're getting that. Just, again, as you're going through it all the time, if you see bits that look a bit big, just tear them up. You know, it just makes it a lot nicer to eat in the sandwich. I mean, that's getting there. So, give it a couple more minutes. So there you go, you can see we're kind of, you know, got all the, it's kind of cooked through, it still looks really juicy. Now what I want to do now is just add a few bits of cheese onto it. So we're going to go 1, 2, typical tearing the plastic. And 3, so we just get those on there. I'm just going to put the lid on the kettle for a minute just to help melt the cheese. And then once that's done, I can then get it ready to go into the bun. It doesn't take long, that's pretty much it. So now I've got my cheese set there. It is good to have these types of these paddles, so I can kind of basically try and shift it all up so I can get it on there. Kind of want to push it onto one of them so I can just load that straight into the sandwich. I'm going to bring the bread over here. And then when you do this, you know, they always do it that they will flip the cheese down, you know, and then just like that. That is your cheesesteak. You can always add a bit more cheese on top of it if you want to as well. So, you know, I might go double up, make it extra cheesy. There we go. And then fold that, try and fold it up. So, easier said than done. I guess the only thing that is left, you know, that is basically your Philly cheesesteak. The only thing that is left to do now is to try and actually eat some of it. So, really good. You know, it's still nice and juicy. You know, you get the juice coming out of it, it's not dry. Obviously you get the cheese through and everything else. So that is really quick and simple, you know, how you make a Philly cheesesteak. I hope you've enjoyed it. You know, if there's other things you want to see us cook, you know, put some comments down below, and otherwise we'll see you on the next video.